Listen to the following talk.
Imagine a time when knowledge was a treasure locked away in a foreign tongue, accessible only to a privileged few. In the 9th century, amidst the chaos of Viking invasions and fragmented kingdoms, one visionary king sought to unlock this treasure for his people. Alfred the Great, through his groundbreaking translations of Latin texts into Old English, not only preserved classical wisdom, but also laid the foundation for a unified and enlightened England. The significance of translation in 9th century England, a historical perspective. In the rich tapestry of English history, the 9th century stands out as a pivotal era marked by significant cultural, intellectual, and political developments. One of the most notable figures of this period was Alfred the Great, King of Wessex from 871 to 899. Among his many contributions to the kingdom, Alfred's efforts to translate key Latin texts into Old English have had a profound and lasting impact on English culture and language. Two of these texts, the Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius and Ecclesiastical History of the English People by Bede, were instrumental in shaping the intellectual landscape of England. This essay will explore the importance of these translations, their historical context, and their enduring legacy. Historical context. During the 9th century, England was a land of turmoil and transformation. The Viking invasions posed a constant threat, and the various Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were often in conflict with each other. Amidst this chaos, Alfred the Great emerged as a unifying force. His military acumen and strategic diplomacy were crucial in defending his kingdom from Viking incursions, but his vision extended far beyond mere survival. Alfred recognized that a strong, less cohesive society required not only military strength, but also intellectual and cultural development. At the time, Latin was the lingua franca of educated Europeans, serving as the medium for scholarly, religious, and philosophical works. However, Latin literacy was confined to a small elite, primarily clergy and scholars. The common people, who spoke Old English, had limited access to these texts. Alfred's decision to translate important works into Old English was a revolutionary step towards making knowledge more accessible and fostering a sense of shared identity and cultural heritage among his subjects. The translation of the Consolation of Philosophy. The Consolation of Philosophy, written by the Roman philosopher Boethius in the early 6th century, is a profound meditation on fortune, suffering, and the nature of happiness. Boethius, who wrote the text while imprisoned and awaiting execution, explores themes of divine providence, the fickleness of fortune, and the pursuit of true wisdom. The work is framed as a dialogue between Boethius and Lady Philosophy, who consoles him in his time of despair. Alfred's translation of this text was not merely a linguistic exercise, but a deliberate effort to infuse his kingdom with philosophical and moral guidance. By making Boethius's ideas accessible to his subjects, Alfred aimed to provide them with a framework for understanding and coping with the vicissitudes of life. The translation also reflects Alfred's own intellectual curiosity and his commitment to the philosophical and ethical improvement of his people. The translation of Ecclesiastical History of the English People. Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People, written in the early 8th century, is a seminal work that chronicles the history of England from the Roman invasion to Bede's own time. It is invaluable not only as a historical record, but also as a source of information about the spread of Christianity in England. Bede's meticulous scholarship and narrative skill make this work a cornerstone of English historiography. By translating Bede's history into Old English, Alfred sought to strengthen the cultural and religious identity of his kingdom. The text provided his subjects with a sense of continuity and connection to their past, highlighting the role of Christianity in shaping English society. Moreover, it served as a tool for promoting literacy and learning, as it was used in the education of the clergy and the nobility. The impact and legacy of Alfred's translations. Alfred's translations had far-reaching implications for English culture and language. They marked the beginning of a tradition of vernacular literature that would eventually flourish in the Middle Ages and beyond. By elevating Old English to a literary language, Alfred laid the groundwork for the rich literary heritage that includes works like Beowulf, the writings of Chaucer, and, much later, the plays of Shakespeare. Furthermore, these translations were part of Alfred's broader educational reforms, which included the establishment of schools and the promotion of learning among both the clergy and the laity. His efforts helped to preserve and transmit classical knowledge and Christian teachings at a time when much of Europe was experiencing intellectual decline. Conclusion: King Alfred the Great's decision to translate The Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius and Ecclesiastical History of the English People by Bede was a visionary act that had a profound impact on the intellectual and cultural development of England. These translations made important philosophical and historical works accessible to a wider audience, promoted literacy, and fostered a sense of shared cultural and religious identity. Alfred's legacy as a scholar and educator endures to this day, reminding us of the enduring power of knowledge and the written word in shaping society. As an English teacher, it is essential to recognize and appreciate the historical significance of these translations and their role in the evolution of the English language and literature. Thank you for watching.
This content is only an example of learning English.
Summary. In the 9th century, King Alfred the Great of Wessex undertook the ambitious project of translating key Latin texts into Old English. Among these were Boethius's The Consolation of Philosophy and Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People. This essay explores the historical context of these translations, highlighting how Alfred's efforts made philosophical and historical knowledge accessible to a broader audience, promoted literacy, and strengthened cultural and religious identity in England. Alfred's translations marked the beginning of a vernacular literary tradition and underscored his commitment to the intellectual and moral improvement of his kingdom, leaving a lasting legacy in the development of English language and literature.
Thank you for watching. This is a VTP channel. You can find us at youtube.com/@VTP.
Here are 22 keywords from the content along with their meanings. 1. Alfred the Great, King of Wessex, from 871 to 899, known for his military, intellectual, and cultural contributions to England. 2. Wessex, a historical kingdom in Anglo-Saxon England, ruled by Alfred the Great. 3. Translation, the process of rendering text from one language into another. 4. Old English, the early form of the English language spoken and written in parts of England between the 5th and 11th centuries. 5. Latin, the classical language of ancient Rome and its empire, used historically as a language of scholarship and administration. 6. Boethius, a Roman philosopher whose work, The Consolation of Philosophy, was translated by Alfred the Great. 7. The Consolation of Philosophy, a philosophical work by Boethius dealing with themes of fortune, suffering, and happiness. 8. Bede, an Anglo-Saxon monk and historian, author of Ecclesiastical History of the English People. 9. Ecclesiastical History of the English People, a historical work by Bede, chronicling the history and Christianization of England. 10. Viking invasions, series of attacks by Norse seafarers on the British Isles during the 8th to 11th centuries. 11. Anglo-Saxon, referring to the Germanic inhabitants of England from the 5th century until the Norman conquest. 12. Philosophy, the study of fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. 13. Historiography, the study of historical writing or the writing of history. 14. Vernacular, the language or dialect spoken by the ordinary people in a particular country or region. 15. Literacy, the ability to read and write. 16. Cultural identity, the identity or feeling of belonging to a group influenced by culture, language, and traditions. 17. Christianity, the religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. 18. Clergy, the body of all people ordained for religious duties, especially in the Christian church. 19. Scholarship, academic study or achievement, learning of a high level. 20. Providence, the protective care of God or nature as a spiritual power. 21. Ethical improvement, the process of becoming better in terms of morality and principles. 22. Legacy, something handed down from an ancestor or from the past. These keywords encapsulate the main themes and concepts discussed in the essay, providing a clearer understanding of Alfred the Great's translations and their historical significance.
This content is only an example of learning English. Thank you for watching. This is a VTP channel. You can find us at youtube.com /VTP.